And welcome back, guys, to another chapter in Book of Random. I am Keoni.
I am Lindsey.
And we appreciate you guys coming back. Yesterday we talked about magic, if magic was real, what our thoughts are on it. So following that kind of above average normal type thing, we're going to go into aliens today. Do you think aliens are real? And I don't mean some weird alien microorganism growing on some strange moon off of Jupiter. I'm talking about sentient or conscious life, advanced civilizations, aliens. And let's dive directly into it. My love, do you believe aliens are real? And if so, or if not, why or why not?
Yes, I believe in aliens.
Okay.
Like you always say, it's hard to imagine that in how big our universe is,
And ever expanding.
that we are the only
Yeah.
living beings.
It really would be an awful waste of space.
Yeah, I don't get that. So, yeah, I believe in aliens, and I believe that people have seen things. People have recorded things. I don't believe that it's everyone playing with Photoshop or some sort of video editor.
Yep.
Or some explanation of like, oh, well, the military was like doing lights in the sky, or someone was doing something. Like, that's a lot of people and their stories and accounts.
Correct. That's what I agree as well with you, my love. Sure, you can chalk up some of it to, there actually being a helicopter or this or that or drone or a reflection off of this. I'm sure you can explain away quite a few like that. However, there's just no way you could explain away every single one.
Oh, the directions of ones, like things move like super, super quick.
Yeah.
In like a weird direction, like.
Yeah, so that's a huge tall tale sign is like, as advanced as we are as a species, there are some things we just haven't figured out yet. One is propulsion without, huge jet engines behind you, right? Making all this noise and ruckus. Like, you just can't get away from that. It's just a byproduct of how we move our planes and fighter jets and all this kinds of stuff. So, if you see these videos where these things are making these incredibly fast maneuvers, and what makes it even worse is that they're able to stop and change directions immediately, which is something we can't do. Our fighter jets are the most advanced flying vessels that we have that are supposed to be the fastest and most agile, cannot bank turns like that. It's just the inertia of it would kill the pilot. That much force and energy coming to a complete halt and directing elsewhere would literally kill a pilot. This is why they have to make such wide turns. Don't get me wrong, you can bank pretty fast, but you're catching all those G's, all that inertia is pushing against the body. That's why, a lot of times they need to train you, or all the time, they need to train you to be able to take that. They have special suits that they wear that help with that type of pressure and inertia. So, yes, I do believe aliens are real. I do believe that we have been visited at some point. Now, there's plenty of arguments out there about aliens and this and that and the other thing, and people think that if aliens did come, they would be benevolent because they would have, if they're able to travel between the stars, they are so advanced that they would realize that petty war is futile, and they would kind of rise above it, and they wouldn't be these like crazy world dominating things like people talk about, you know what I mean? Like people, we portray in movies and stuff. But that, to me, is not necessarily true. An argument could be made that in every instance in our history, anytime a more advanced society has met a lesser advanced society, the more advanced society wiped them out. For resources, for land, for their women, or whatever it was, right? Conquistadors and the Aztecians or Mayans or whatever they ran into, the Native Americans and the Europeans, whatever. It's always been that way. Whoever has the more advanced technology, Genghis Khan took over the known world at the time with a bow and arrow. I mean, that was his advanced technology that gave him the edge over everyone else. Like it is what it is. That and really advanced tactics that people weren't expecting. They used to light horses on fire. That's a real thing. They would light horses on fire. They would steal horses out of your camp. Then they would light the horse on fire, and it would naturally run home, and it would light the whole town on fire. That's just a crazy freaking thing. But anyway, yeah. So I think that if aliens had come here, it could go either way, like anything else. It could be benevolent. They could be advanced, or they could just have, like we base everything off of the human perception of things, right? We put our emotions and we project that onto them as if they have the same emotions that we do. What if they don't? You know what I mean? What if to them it isn't, I hate these things, I want to kill them? What if it's simply a means of survival? You know what I mean? It's eat or be eaten. Maybe it's something like that. Or what if they simply had they had access to, like, they don't have to progress the way we did. They didn't have to progress, like, from horse and carriage to combustion engines and the automobile to electric cars. You know what I mean? That progression is based on the natural elements that we have access to. What if they had different elements? You know, more potent energies. What if energy was never their Achilles heel like it is for us? You know what I mean? That would allow them to advance in ways that we never thought of, right? So to me, it's interesting, the whole concept of it, but I definitely believe aliens are out there. There's just way too much out there going on to think that it's pretty hubris to think that we're the only things out there that are sentient and conscious and advanced. That being said, a fun fact is that they say that if aliens could travel in between stars, which means their interstellar capabilities, which, like, for us, we can't do that. They would take us hundreds of years, if not millennium, to travel from here to another star, simply because we don't have the capability and the energy to do that. We don't have perpetual energy to do that. Ours is based on combustible fuels, which runs out. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Well, they say that if a civilization can travel between the stars, that the only way they would be able to do that is if they had advanced technologies like a warp drive, or, you know what I mean, wormholes, or whatever you want to call it, a faster than light drive, an FTL drive. Well, in order to do that, if you're going to travel in subspace to get here, or anywhere for that matter, you're going to need a shield to protect your ship. Well, that shield hits a microasteroid the size of a penny. That penny, at that speed and that velocity, that penny is going to hit that ship with the same force as like 10,000 nuclear bombs in one focalized point, which means that their ship's shields have to be incredibly powerful. Now, why is this important? Well, that's important because if they ever did come here, there's literally nothing we could do to repel them. I mean, we could nuke this entire planet and not scratch their ship. And that's the truth of it, you know? And some of the ways we would fight back, according to scientists, would be actually biological weapons. In fact, assuming that they would take us on their ships, would be to infect ourselves and use us as kamikaze, bioweapons, and that's how we would win. That's, of course, assuming that they're biological and they aren't some drone species created by a biological race sent out to conquer or whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, sorry, I'm going on crazy tangents. Dive deeper into the rabbit hole. But yeah, I definitely believe aliens are real. Sure, they might have visited us in the past. I think maybe it's one of those things where, you know, like the tribe in the Amazon, which no one interacts with. They're still doing stuff the same way they did it for the last 500 years, you know what I mean? Perhaps it's like that, where they kind of look at us and are like, hey, we're too unevolved to really make contact with that, or they did make contact, and, you know, agencies like our government have kind of made contact and kind of brokered or a treaty or some type of thing where our government or other governments become the point of contact, and aliens don't just go around showing themselves, you know what I mean? Like, hey guys, you know, like maybe it's one of those things. And I don't blame the US government, or any government for that matter, for trying to hide it, because a lot of, quite honestly, the existence of aliens, it does, for a lot of people, kind of rock their foundation of religion. To basically, because it breaks you down into this question as to what makes your God the right God and the aliens' God the wrong God, if they had a God. You know what I mean? Or, why didn't God mention these to us in his holy book, or the Quran, or the, Book of Mormon, or whatever it is. So yeah, it kind of makes you wonder all these different questions. Would we as a society be able to hear this and not freak out? You know what I mean? So let me ask you guys this. Here's a good question. If you found out irrevocably, if the US government or the governments of the world came out and said, we for sure know that aliens are legit, they're real, they visited us, here's the evidence, and it's irrefutable, would you change anything about your life tomorrow than it was today or the days before? Would anything change? If so, let us know. If not, let us know why not. I always think that's a cool exercise to kind of think about. Do you have anything else to add on this, my love? No. Okay. Well, another thing I wanted to kind of touch base on the whole alien thing is another crazy part about it. Like we talked about magic yesterday, there are these civilizations that have been separated through time and space all around the planet that have never come in contact with each other. The Sumerians, Aztecs, Aztecians? No. Aztecans? Mayans? Aztecans? Yeah, Mayans, Egyptians, Chinese, all these different people. And the reason I bring this up is because they have similarities in ancient texts and ancient drawings and copper stamping type things with that all basically tell very similar stories. Even in the earliest religions, they all tell these very similar stories, but these people have never met. There's never been any overlap between them through centuries and thousands of miles. So it's crazy to think that somehow that they all just kind of came up with this own thing. Now, there's these people called the Anunaki, these alien race that comes from planet X, Nibiru, which apparently is the exact opposite of our sun from us and orbits exactly. That's why we never see them. It's in our solar system, but it literally is on the opposite end. And they claim that the Anunnaki are giant angels, essentially. That's how they're referred to. They're large beings that had the capability of flying. Now, what if the flying wasn't as literal as wings, but necessarily like they had a ship? Now, in all different civilizations and stuff, they've had instances and drawings of these ships coming down from the clouds and these larger beings coming and talking to us and sharing basic technologies like the plow for a field to help plants and stuff. Like, they didn't give us cell phones necessarily, but they gave us the means to help advance their society. There's stories talking about how these Anunnaki came here and warned the earliest civilizations that there's a great flood coming, which is interesting because that coincides with what the story of Noah and the Ark. And they basically explained that the planets were going to come eerily nearby each other, and the gravitational forces were going to cause massive tidal waves that wrap the planet. You know what I mean? So what's crazy to think about is there are a lot of similarities between ancient texts, religious texts, and these stories of these different aliens. I really, if you guys are into this at all, search it, look it up. Planet X, Nibiru, Anunnaki. Those come together. The story is incredible. And it's in, like I said, the most ancient Sumerian texts. In fact, in their text, it's like these copper piece of metal that they deboss or emboss. What is it? The one where they stamp in? Emboss? Where they emboss stories that are told, and that's like the most ancient, original documented recording of human history. And this is like 20,000 years ago or some crazy thing. And in there they talk about how these beings, the Anunnaki from Nibiru or Planet X, they apparently, these aliens explain to them how they got there, including course corrections around planets using gravitational slingshot maneuvers and all this kind of stuff. And it's all detailed in this thing. I mean, to like a perfect mathematical explanation that they couldn't. There's no way they could have figured out back in the day. But I mean, people couldn't. It's hard enough for people to figure it out now, and we have all this technology and advancements and astrophysics and stuff, right? So it's really crazy to think about. I mean, even the pyramids they claim were helped by aliens because there's just stones that would have had to travel so far, and they have no idea how they got these, 50-ton stones, 100,000-pound pieces of granite over there and milled to such a precise. Like they're saying that there's pieces of the pyramids that were built and drilled out like a half-moon drill on the side of this perfectly shaped piece of granite that even technology nowadays couldn't replicate. Cranes nowadays couldn't lift. Like it's just crazy to me to think that like a bunch of guys with like barely rope and no wheels, you know what I mean, they had poles that they would roll stuff on, somehow created all this. Who knows? I can't say yeah or nay, but I could really dive deeper into this. It's really crazy. It's really interesting. If you guys are at all into this, search for Anunaki, Planet X, or Nibiru. It's really freaking crazy. Ancient Aliens, great show on History Channel, which they stream now. I think it's on Netflix. It's great. Sorry for going off on another rant, guys. This is interesting to me. I like these interesting, like, make you think type of topics. Let us know if you guys have anything you guys want to know about us or any topics you want us to discuss. We're really just open to anything, so just let us know. Do you have anything else to add, my love?
No.
All right, so today's fun fact, before we close up, is apparently UFO sightings is become such a real thing that the U.S. government and the U.S. military, of course, they have those secret stuff, right? Area 51 and all this kind of stuff, which we don't really know what it's about. But they actually have, they've put together a way for U.S. military personnel and Defense Department people to actually, the proper chain of command, to report UFO sightings. Because apparently it's a big thing in the Air Force and the Navy where pilots are seeing UFOs either pacing them or trailing behind them or moving beyond their speeds that they can't even keep up with it. And there's legitimate video of it, of the radar, of them reporting it. The entire thing it's all online. You can find it now. But the Pentagon recently released these things. But they established this whole chain of command for people to report alien things, UFO sightings, all this kinds of stuff. And that's interesting to me because in some degree, that's almost like them acknowledging like, hey, there is something going on out there that we either can't explain or that we have to keep a lid on it or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that's really interesting, I really do. One of the best telescopes that we have on this planet is actually located at the Vatican. And the Vatican, I think it's this Pope, had come out a few years back and said that not if, but when aliens are discovered, it does not necessarily mean that God does not exist. That's what they said, the Vatican. So that's their way, to me, of them trying to get ahead of it. You know what I mean? Try to plant that seed so that if it ever does come to be, people aren't freaking out. You know what I mean? So tell us what you guys think. Tell us if you guys agree, are aliens real, sentient aliens, not microorganisms? Yay, nay, let us know. We really appreciate all the love and support, guys. Please like, subscribe, share. We really appreciate you guys. We like doing this. This is fun. I like to have these engaging conversations with people. And yeah, so thank you guys. Yeah. All right, guys. Love each other. Take care of each other. Love you guys 3,000. Peace. Hey, guys. Thanks for watching our video. We appreciate you guys so much. And we'd like to see you guys in our other videos. So please watch here, and subscribe.